Hey guys, welcome back. We have another great interview today with Steven from Calgary, Alberta. So welcome, Steven.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, good. So can you basically kind of give me a little summary of your history of what happened when you gained all this weight, and tell me a little bit about like the before situation.
Okay, well, I grew up on a farm, and basically I've been big my whole life. I've always been overweight, but I worked until I was 35 on a farm at a dairy feedlot. So I was always, do a lot of physical work, and I was always around 350, 375. But then we sold all of our stuff, and I moved to the city here, and I got a sedimentary job, just walking, kind of talking. I'm a supervisor, right? So what happened, just slowly, it kind of came on because I wasn't doing any physical work, and then slowly, and I tried a few things along the way, but it just never stopped. And I've always been told by doctors I got one of the slowest metabolism. I'm like, when I eat a little bit of food, it stays with me. So I've always had an issue with that, but I've always been in pretty good shape. But just being sedimentary I moved out in 2005, and it just slowly kept coming and coming. And before you know it, you're so big, you're like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to start something. Tomorrow I'm going to do something. And then you don't realize it, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is getting out of control here. So it just basically crept on over the years. And
I hear you. What at your peak, what did you end up weighing?
Well, I think I was like probably around 600 and something, around probably 610. But then I did a little bit, and I've lost a few here, 10, 20. But I could never really get on because I was doing it kind of backwards. So I would get like, say, hamburger, rinse all the fat off, have rice, everything that was backwards, right? It never really worked.
Wow.
As we talked about, insulin is probably just spiking it up. I thought I was doing it right, but I never was.
So you probably never even heard of the word keto at the time?
No. Well, the only reason I heard of keto is that I watched a lot of UFC, and I was watching Joe Rogan, and he was talking about it. And the way he was talking about it, I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's kind of up my alley. So I heard about it probably a month before my birthday, and, in beginning of September, and I started doing a little bit of research on it. And then I just decided on October 6th was my birthday 2 years ago, I'm just going to start doing it. And so that's what I did. But I just did a little bit of research, read Jimmy Moore's book, found you. I found a couple other people, Stephanie, she's a little crazy for me. That's too hardcore for me. But I basically just, got on it and started it my own with just the research and reading a few books. And on October 6th, the day I started the keto. And that day I hired actually a personal trainer. We have it. They come into your house. So it's called Fitness on the Go. So I started with a trainer 5 days a week, and I started doing keto that day. Wow. And that was 2 years ago now. So
do you remember that day? What did you weigh yourself? Do you remember the exact?
Yeah, it was 587.
587 pounds.
Yeah. That was the picture that I sent you.
How tall are you?
5'11".
How does that feel on your joints? I mean, I can't even imagine.
Well,
that must have been
that's the funny part. I was a pretty mobile big guy. Like, I didn't have no joint problem. The only problem that I was really having that was scaring me was I had a bit of water retention in my lower legs. So that was in. The other problem was sleeping. Like, I would sleep sitting up a lot of times. We call it the Buddha. Just sit on the edge of my bed. I could fall asleep that way because I was pretty big. I was an 8X in those shirts I'm showing you. So I was an 8X. I'm down to an extra large to maybe a 2X. Depends what shirt it is now.
Because right now, I think you're 200. Was it 80?
264.
264.
Right now. Yeah.
Wow.
My goal was when I started this, I wanted to get down to 250. I missed it by 14 pounds. I'm getting to the lower end here, and it's getting a little tougher than it was, in the beginning.
Oh,
so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you find that the weight came off pretty rapidly in the beginning?
Oh yeah, it did. Like, it was really weird. Like, when I first started the keto, I just, increased the fast, did everything they said. And like, I mean, in the first probably 2 weeks, I probably lost 35, 40 pounds. Like, and a lot of it was water weight. I know it was water weight. Then after that, it was consistently losing between 7 to 10 pounds a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that time, did you also include intermittent fasting?
No, I didn't start intermittent fasting until May of this year. I started May 1st. So what I basically did when I started, I was doing 3 meals a day. I would do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'd have a little bit of snack if I was hungry at the beginning, but weight was coming off. And then basically I got into, about 8 months later, I was kind of stalling out a little bit. I was a little confused because I was taking like MCT oil. I was adding avocado oil to food, way too much fat. So I actually contacted Tristan, you probably know him, and I got a little, I wanted a little advice that wasn't in the books, and basically told me to get back to simple, cut out some of the fats. But once I did that, I really dropped again. So I just basically started eating more basic foods again, and just got in, not adding any fat, just, cooking the hamburger, adding the kale and, that kind of stuff, just simplified. And then I started, missing the breakfast. So I started, going to 11 o'clock until, 6 o'clock. And then I went 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. And I did that until May 1st.
Wow.
And then I kind of had stalled out again a little bit. So on May 1st, I said, well, I'm going to do the 23-and-1. So basically I don't eat till like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I just have one meal a day. And I've been doing that every day since May 1st.
And so tell me about your hunger.
I don't have any hunger. I never really did. That was the funny thing. And I've never felt better. Even a month into when I started keto, like even when I was 587, I was sleeping normal. I was never that hungry. Like it really turned like something for me. I was never hungry. Because before I did have cravings, like, for chips or pizza or something like that, it went away with me really quick.
Wow.
So
makes it easier. So when you were losing, like, let's say 7 pounds a week, how long did that last before it was like 6 pounds and then 5 pounds and then 4 pounds per week?
I started to stall around 424. That's when I started to introducing a little bit of intermittent fasting, and I started cutting down a little bit of the meals. Before I would have like a breakfast, 5 pieces of bacon, eggs, and omelet. And then I would have like, say, a Caesar salad with some chicken for lunch because I was kind of on the go. And then at night I would have, like a hamburger, whatever kind of meal, like regular meals. And then that was going good. And I was working out every day too. Like I would do, I had a trainer for an hour a day, and I would only do maybe 15 minutes cardio, but I was doing weights, trying to get body movement, get some strength back. And I was doing that every day. When I got down into the 400s, I started adding in cardio half an hour a day, and then just introducing more and just staying with the weights 5 days a week.
Wow.
So I was always working out. But the problem was around 424, I started to stall out a little bit, like I was getting down to 1 or 2 pounds a week. But I was always introducing too much fat. My problem was I had, I was adding avocado oil to, say my hamburger, my kale. I was having MCT oil every morning, the shots, Mm-hmm. So I just basically started cutting all that out. No more MCT oil, no more adding any oil. I would just have the fat that was in the hamburger, with the kale. Like I kind of have a pretty simple routine now, but because I'm only doing one meal a day, but I just cut out all the extra fat because everybody's like, we all kind of know you don't eat that extra fat. I have it on me. So I need to stay in there. And I've never really had elevated ketones like everyone always talks about. I've only had between 0.6 and 1. Like that's where I test my blood. And then my blood sugar's always stayed around 3.2. I've had a really low blood sugar the whole time, and I basically stay there. It never really goes up. And I feel really good. I've had that along the way. And I test I prick my finger. I don't do it as much anymore because I know how I feel.
Uh-huh. Now, when you were in high school, did you have any weight issues?
Oh, yeah. I was big my whole life. Okay. I grew up on a farm, right? So I worked every morning before school, every day after. I grew up on a dairy feedlot. I was strong. Like I was big. I worked hard every day. I never had issues. I was 350, 375.
Is your parents overweight?
Not really. A little bit, not too much.
How about your brothers and sisters?
My brother and sister are, yes. We got that bad body type, whatever the one is that, we store fat very well.
Did you, as kids, eat a lot of sugar?
No, it was just all meat, potatoes.
Oh.
We didn't have a lot of that kind of stuff.
Starches?
Yeah, just the regular farm food, lots of meat and lots of potatoes. Yeah.
So all of you were kind of big growing up.
Yeah, and they still are big. I'm the one that's the smallest now. So.
And so I think you said in high school you were like 300 and something pounds.
350, 375.
Wow. And just with sedentary lifestyle, you just shot up 400 and 500.
As soon as I quit farming, I moved to the city here, and I got a sedentary job. I just went slowly. It just kept going on every year, and I would kind of lose 10, 15, work out hard, but then I get working more, and then you don't work out enough. Like if I'm not doing a good bit of stuff, it just crept on, and it came back fast.
Wow.
And that was the problem. Yeah.
Wow. And then when you were actually in the 500s, did you have any other health issues like Did the doctor say your cholesterol was high or anything like that, or diabetes? No.
Yeah, they said like, a little, my blood pressure was a little high and my cholesterol is high. They put me on like the statin and they put me on, Ramapril, like a small dose. I went to see a diabetes clinic a couple times, but every time I tested, I was always never quite a diabetic. He's like, you're really, really heavy, but you never, because I never did really have sugar. I was never a sugar guy. I never had candy. I never really liked sugar before. I was kind of more of a pizza and chips and sandwich kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never huge into that, but I was always kind of on the verge of it. But my biggest problem, I was having water retention in my legs, my lower legs. And that was what scared me. And I'm retiring in a few years, like when I'm 50. And the problem was, I was like, dude, I've done very well. I've got this problem with my, water retention in my legs. I'm not sleeping well. I'm like, I want to retire in 5 years. I need to get something in order. But all the other stuff we've tried in the past never seemed to work until, I basically saw Joe Rogan talking about it. And he was just like raving on it. And I didn't really dawn me because I've tried Atkins in the past, but it never worked because they never had a plan. And then once you get into keto and you just stay with it, the food is so easy.
Yeah.
Like it's so enjoyable. Like, I don't know, like I would never even go back to eating regular because there's so much good stuff you can have.
Right.
And the other thing now is when I'm doing the intermittent fasting is, to me, eating once a day is probably the easiest thing I've ever done. I feel the best. And I have so my meals, I'm pretty consistent on what I eat. Like I only eat about 7 a night. So I have like 4 pieces of Swiss cheese with some cream cheese and some bacon bits. That's my appetizer. Then I have the regular size kale salad. I eat a kale salad and I have my own olive oil and spices I put on. And then I mix, once a week I have the hamburger, and I do 1 pound of kale, 1 pound of spinach, and I just put spices in. And I just, basically comes out to be 2.5 cups. And that's my meal I have 5 days a week. And then on the weekends I'll have like eggs or bacon. I'll maybe switch it up a little bit. But 5 days a week I have the same food. I have like a salad, a hot meal, and then like just a little appetizer.
Wow.
And that's all I eat. And I work out right now. I'm doing 45 minutes of pretty hard cardio, and I'm doing an hour weights, and I'm getting lots of gains like in strength, size. And I don't even know what the protein is, but it's not that much. Like people are saying, oh, you have to eat all this protein. I don't add any extra fat to it. And a lot of times, like I'll travel. I just went home for the weekend. It was our Thanksgiving, and I'll work all that day. I'll drive home and I'll just forget to eat. I won't even eat till the next night. I can go 2 days and I'm just totally on balance. And I've all worked out. Like I worked out the day before and I worked out, fasted, and then I just eat the next day. And I'm fine. I just gotta say, well, it's time to eat. I can feel it. I'm a little bit hungry and I would like something. But yeah, it goes pretty easy now.
Wow. Have you noticed, like with your skin, loose skin?
I have an issue. I've had to go to plastic surgery. Like I'm big.
Okay.
There's like probably 5 operations. I got to do the upside down T first, and then, legs. I do have skin. I'm going to have a skin issue. I do have a skin issue.
Mm-hmm. How about your cognitive function? Are you noticing like any difference with that, like before versus now?
Oh yeah, the brain. Like even when I started, after a month, I was a lot more sharp. Before I would, you're always tired. You can never sleep. Your brain's always racing. You're always thinking about a million things. Now you go to bed. I remember my dreams. Like I just go to bed and then I wake up on time. Like it's just a way. Like after a month, I couldn't believe how better I was sleeping. That was the one thing I noticed right away. And the cognitive, you're not so foggy anymore.
Right. And then what about your fluid now? Do you still retain, or is that better?
No, I'm really lean now. Like I got veins in my legs, and like I'm pretty super lean. Well, like it's for a big guy, I still got the skin issue, but like, my legs and that, they're right down. There's nothing there. And like in my arms and all that. Like my face, I never had the problem in my neck. Like you should probably see it in the picture. I had a pretty big, I had no neck, and it's all come back. I just have it around my midsection. I was really big. I was an 8X, right? So if you look at the picture there in that door, I took up 2 of those doors, and then I only have 1. If you look at some of the pictures, I went from an 8X down to a basic and extra large.
Wow.
I still like to lose 40 more pounds. I would like to get to 225. Wow. Right now, it's getting a little slower. I'm doing half a pound a week, maybe 0.25 pounds. And some weeks I'll do 1.5. It just depends. It's kind of been a little bit of a slower, but I know I'm getting smaller on size because I'm gaining more muscle and the clothes are going down slower. Just the weight side. So I'm not really too concerned, but I would like to probably get down another 25 to 40. I don't know if I can get there with my body type, Yeah,
I think, even though it may feel like, wow, it's just really slowing down, you could be at your maximum weight loss, which is because you're actually you're retaining muscle, you're growing muscle, you're losing weight. It could come out to about the same because all we have to do is like measure weight. So as long as you're shrinking, that's like a good indicator that it's working big time.
Yeah, it's working. And my muscle gains, like my legs are getting, way stronger. You can see the muscle definition, your arms, everything is getting, shoulders, chest, it's all getting there. But I do have the excess skin, which is, a problem when people are as big as me and lose that. One of the other things that I've also done since the beginning, I also take like my vitamins. So when I'm doing the intermittent fasting, I always took them in the morning, and I've always been doing I do amazing grass, the wheatgrass, and I do their super grass, and I take my vitamins in the morning, and I do 4 shots of the organic lemon and 4 shots of apple cider vinegar. I do that on my empty stomach. It's never raised my blood sugar or nothing. So I don't eat till 7, 8 at night, but in the morning I have my vitamins and my wheatgrass and my super grass, because we can't buy your stuff up in Canada here. It's hard to get across the border. They charge us a lot of money.
I know.
So I can only get that stuff, and it's organic, and I've taken that since the beginning. Because, when you're doing this kind of diet, you're not getting a lot of greens. Right. Like I do have my salad a day, but I do take that extra. And I take quite a regimen of vitamins too, just to, keep going on it, to make sure everything is there that I need. And I've never had an issue with anything, so, but I've done that since day one. So I've always done your apple cider vinegar, and I've always done the 4 shots of lemon. I do that every morning. I don't do it 3 times a day. So
that's awesome. Wow. Yeah. And how was your sleep?
Oh, it's perfect. As soon as I go to bed, I'm asleep, and I wake up. Boom, I don't even use an alarm clock. I just sleep my, 8, 9 hours, whatever. When I go to bed, I'm up at 7. The sleep has probably been the biggest one. That was a huge problem before. I was, sleep when you're that big, of course, and then the breathing but my biggest thing is I tell people, I've done it in 2 years, but I've stayed steady on it for 2 years. I've never had an extra meal or, gone off and it's been there. I've always tried to get better and better and better. When you first start, it takes a couple months, eating 3 meals a day to get your body over, because that was really big. I probably had insulin resistance, like they said, but it took a while to get over it. And it's just, you slowly get at it, but you got to keep moving. Everyone's really scared about exercise, but I've done it since day one, because if you don't get stronger, you're probably going to peter out. My secret is probably just moving every day. And it was hard at the beginning. I could barely do 2 things, and then it just gets, it's like saving money day after day after day after day. And then what you try to do is just try to get better at what you're doing, go down smaller. Do I really need that extra, little bit of food? No, you don't. And, you can still gain muscle on it. Everyone's like, oh, I got to have all this protein and all that. I don't. And I've been doing this since May 1st. I do, 1 meal a day, and I've probably had the best gains. My cardio's higher than it's ever been. I'm increasing on my cardio. I like doing the bike and the rower. Mm-hmm. I'm getting faster, and I'm going more yardage and stuff. So I don't know about having to have all this protein to gain muscle, like everybody says. You can gain quite a bit of muscle and get in good shape by just having 1 meal a day.
Totally. It's on the flip side. I had a client who was quite large.
Yeah.
And they were supposedly doing intermittent fasting, but really what happened, right around 5 o'clock, they would start the carbs and the grains and the rice and the sugar, and they would graze all the way until 12 midnight. And then they didn't eat for the next part of the day, but they gained so much weight and fluid retention from the carbs. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's one thing that I only have, I only probably eat probably 20 minutes, because I start my meal at say 7 o'clock. I pre-do my meal so that my hot meal, I do 5 of them for the week. I already have my kale salad, the little square one. And then I already have so what I do is I have my 4 pieces of cheese with the cream cheese and a little bit of bacon bits on. And then I have the salad, and then I have my hot meal at the end. And that's probably done in 20 minutes, half hour. And that's all I eat.
Wow.
And I do that every day. And that's after I've done working out and after I've done all my stuff. I do that later at night, because that time I'm feeling good. And, a couple hours, I'm going to bed. And then I start again. And it's probably the best thing. I went on holidays for 2 weeks last year, and I was kind of down to 2 meals a day. I was gone to a full inclusive resort for 2 weeks. I lost 13 pounds at that, so I've been losing weight. Even when I travel and I go, for work, I travel away. I just go to a restaurant, I order a hamburger, with an avocado slice, cheese, bacon, get the Caesar salad, no croutons. Or you just go have bacon and eggs. It's so easy to eat out. Or if you're can't find that. Just go to a deli, get some. I eat some of the the processed salami meats, like but I've never had an issue. I have that stuff. There's so many meals you can get out there. Get a few pieces of cheese and you're fine to go. Like there's no excuse that you can't do keto. You don't have to stay home to prepare it. You can go buy a salad and get a little bit of olive oil and some spices and throw it on it. You can have it right out of the container. So there's always a way to have keto no matter where you are.
Absolutely.
Even at the airport there's stuff you can buy.
Yeah, you just have to be creative. In the airport, of course, I go, okay, so I'll be doing a 12-hour flight. I'm going to buy some nuts or something, and
Yeah, I've never got into the snacking. One thing it's been really good with me, I've never tried to snack. I would just have my meals and that was it. I never even have anything in my house. Like I don't even have nuts. I don't even go off that.
I actually ate those nuts as a meal because the food on the plane was just all carbs. So
yeah, One thing I've done though that's probably going to make you cringe though, I do drink Diet Pop, and I've done it since the beginning. One of my secrets is when I'm doing the intermittent fasting, I'll have a couple like Diet Dr. Peppers. At night I try to go with A&W because there's no caffeine in it. But I do drink that, and I've never had a blood sugar spike, and I've never had an issue. I know you always say don't do it, and I do that on my fast, and I'm still, I was losing on the fasting. I was doing like say sometimes 10 pounds a week when I first started from when I was a little heavier. Now I'm getting down there in size, but I don't know how much I have left to lose. Like I'm still losing, but it's slowed down a lot. But I don't really mind that,
Yeah. Yeah, if you're consistently shrinking, you're feeling better. Sometimes the diet sodas won't affect the weight necessarily, but I have had several patients that end up with blood disorders and other issues. And they've done it just for a long period of time. So
I do. Like I drink the water too, and I'll make a big pot of tea and add some sativa and lemon to it, and I have that in my house because it's a little more natural. But what I find, if I'm feeling a little bit hungry and I'm intermittent fasting, or I think I'm hungry, I just go have something to drink and then I'm fine. And as long as I'm keeping myself busy during the day, it's when you're sitting around sometimes is when you think you're hungry, but you're not. And then just go do something, and everyone's like, oh, you need the energy to work out. Well, I go work out I'm at the end of my fast, because I usually don't work out till 6 o'clock at night because I'm working during the day. So I'm doing my workout near the end of the fast, and I'm still feeling fine, and I don't have any, I don't feel too tired at the end of the day. So it's just being consistent. I think it's like saving money. You have to do it day after day. I do cardio 6 days a week. I do weights 5 days a week. Even when I'm tired and I don't feel like doing it, I just do it. Once I'm done, I'm happy.
Yeah, and then you have people that say, well, I can't afford to do the eating plan. Well, let's see, you're only doing one meal a day. I think you can afford that. You're saving so much money.
Like, I'll tell you, like, my most expensive thing is, like, I buy the organic hamburger, but if you don't have the money, just buy the regular hamburger, which is cheap. And I only use 2 pounds for a week. So I do 2 pounds of hamburger. Like in Canada, it's 500 grams for a bag. I buy the frozen chopped kale because it's easier. You get so much more because I bought real kale frozen, but by the time I'm done there, it costs me a fortune. It's way cheaper to buy the frozen kale. And I have frozen spinach. I mix that in with 2 pounds of hamburger, and I add a bunch of spices. I use like Cajun, Tex-Mex, and I use hot sauce. And then I put some shredded cheese in there, and I just divide it out. It works out to 5 meals at 2.5 cups. And then the salads up here are $3 a day for a kale salad, and the cheese in that, you're basically maybe $15 at the end of the week. The bacon's the most expensive now. The bacon bits.
Like how much protein would you eat in that meal?
Well, I'm having
how many ounces?
Probably 4 tablespoons of bacon bits, Hormel. That's what I use. I have 4 pieces Swiss cheese, a little bit of cream cheese on there. And then I have, basically, I divide that 2 pounds of hamburger to 5 meals. So that's all I'm having. So I basically have 2.5 cups of hamburger and kale and cheese mix. That's all I eat in a day. It's probably not a lot of protein. And
yeah. You're apparently doing good, and you had a lot of reserve to use up. So you're going to have to create that, that vacuum in there. That's awesome, man. Steve, you've done incredible.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to stay with intermittent fasting. I think it's probably the easiest thing I've ever done. I don't have to buy extra food. I can make one meal. I'm pretty simple. Everyone's like, oh, I need to variety. But when you're only doing 1 meal a day, you're pretty hungry by then. Well, you're not hungry, but you just like, okay, I need some taste with the bacon bits and the cheese. That's kind of like a little snacker one. And then the salad's good because we have to eat our salad every day, the kale. But then I want something hot. So then I have my kind of mixed hot. That's my last one where it's the real good one. And then after that, I'm actually kind of full, drink a little bit of water, and then I'm done. And then we start our day again. And I find it harder to have the 2 or 3 meals a day because you're out there trying to go and, hey, I need to have this meal, or if I'm here, what do I do? Like when I travel, I just don't eat. I just eat when I get there. And like, when you go to a resort, like I was at a resort for 2 weeks, you go to the Japanese and say, I just want shrimp cooked in butter. I want broccoli. Give me extra broccoli. You just tell them what you want. You get the eggs, or if you have a hamburger patties, they're everywhere. And now here in Canada, like A&W has a lettuce wrap one. Just ask for no mayo, because mustard, no ketchup, and you can have a team burger, in a lettuce wrap here. There's keto. There's no excuse nowadays for what's out there. And the other one I've always believed in, don't have so much fat. My success really ramped up when I quit taking MCT oil, quit adding avocado oil, and all these fats. You don't need it. If you're like me and you have it, don't put it on. Just eat regular food and do it that way. And don't go buy these, ketones exogenated, like all that. It doesn't work. It doesn't have to be high. Like my ketones, and I've done it in 2 years, were never much over 0.8, like on the blood. Like I've never had high ketones.
So let me just explain that for people that are watching. In the beginning, sometimes you may need some fat to go from one meal to the next, but as soon as you're adapted, you want to have the food with its natural fat. You don't necessarily have to take all these oils and tons of fat. You don't really need that, because then you want your body to burn its own fat. Hey, Steve, you had incredible success. What I want to do is I want to do another one, let's say in a few months.
Yep.
Because we have to do it so you hit your goal. But you're consistently coming down, and it's just quite a miraculous amount of weight loss. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see in 6 months. I'd like to get to my goal in 6 months, but it is getting tougher. Like I'll admit, like some weeks, it's like half a pound. Like I'm used to losing pretty consistently, So, yeah. But I'm not discouraged at all. But I know I'm coming down in size, but I'm getting in muscle. Like my clothing size is going down. But like even a 5 pound on me, I'll drop another clothing size, like down to a waist. Like I'm down to like a 38 waist, extra large in a lot of shirts, and I was 8X.
Wait, you're a 38 waist?
Yeah, I'm a 38 waist.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And I'm still 264. Like, I know it's kind of weird. I'm only 5'11", so and most people I'm into extra large, so maybe I won't be able to hit 225. I'd like to get down to there. I'm never going to be the 190 like I'm supposed to be. I don't think I could ever get to that body type.
Yeah. Well, I think I wouldn't change too much right now, because you're on a you take the Biggest Loser, these really big guys, they'll lose very, very unhealthily, and they gain it right back. But I don't see you gaining it back, because you're doing it correctly.
And plus, it's been so easy. Like to me, it's never been like a diet or something.
Right.
It's just a really easy lifestyle. Like the food, probably the hardest thing is doing the exercise every day, doing that. But the food to me is like, this is like the easiest thing. And I've tried to lose weight my whole life, and the food is so good on here. Like you don't need the chips. Like I've 2 days without eating pizzas right in front of me, or chip stuff I used to like. It doesn't even bother me. I don't even think about having it. I would, and I don't even want to have something. I'll just wait till I'm ready to have something. So once you get adapted over the food part, there's so much variety you can have on here. Like the cheeses and the deli meats and the way you prepare stuff. It's like bacon and eggs. Who's argues about that?
It's not that hard.
No.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much for the interview, and let's touch base in a few months and see if I'll check in with you to see how you're doing, okay?
Perfect. Okay, we'll see you then.
Thanks. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, see ya.